Robert Magill, and I work for the Missouri Botanical Garden in the research division. Well, now I'm a senior curator. That is, I work with the plant specimens that we get from various areas of the world, mostly the tropics, tropical rainforests, and make sure that they're properly identified, that they're described and put into the collection where they need to be for research purposes. Methods haven't changed that much. Primarily, you're going out and getting material from tropical forest or even areas in the backyard here in St. Louis. You go out, you collect, you dry the specimens out, preserve them, and usually put them into some packet or on a sheet of mounting paper. So that side's exactly the same as it was 200, 300 years ago when people were collecting plants. But it's changed a bit because now we're using methodologies like molecular biology to determine what the genetic structure of individual plants are and how they differ that way. In the past, it was looking at the plants specifically to determine what their morphology or what their aspects were, the shapes, the sizes, the colors, to determine what they are. And now we're looking at the genes to determine what the differences between the individual plants are. The main difference is that we're using new techniques. We're using molecular techniques, chemical, mathematical, and trying to determine what the plants are in a new way. Basically, the research that they were doing at that time was very much similar to what we do today when we go out and gather samples. We actually go someplace, preferably that hasn't been discovered or looked at before, and collect the plants and animals that are available in the area to try to determine both what's there and what the composition of a forest or a grassland happens to be. Bring them back in, preserve them for future study. But now we're able to use new techniques, in that particular sense, morphological techniques, to determine what the relationships of those plants are and how they interact together in the environment. Well, the main difference is that we're moving away from printed literature, that is, actual putting ink on paper and binding them into a book. Today, there's a very quick shift to moving that same literature, the same information, the same ideas that the authors have into electronic form, so it's available on computers, on tablets, or even into your individual phone. So in the old days when you were going out collecting, you generally didn't take a big manual of what the plants are in the area with you because it was just too big to carry. You were going out to collect the plants. Whereas today, you're able to take all of that information for the plants and animals in a particular area with you on your cell phone. And you can see pictures and illustrations and descriptions of those plants. You can see their distributional ranges and what they're associated with when they flower and when they produce fruits, etc., so that you have a wealth of information right in your hand to help you determine what plants and animals you happen to be looking at in the particular region. Well, I think it's going to be extremely interesting to see what kind of new techniques and experiments that we'll have available to us. In just the last few years, especially with the molecular work, it's really opened up a whole new avenue. There's still a lot of concerns about exactly what it's telling us. We don't know yet exactly what the final outcome is going to be, but it's important that we continue to look at these new techniques and determine what they can tell us, because we're getting into an area where we're looking at smaller and smaller or more detailed information about the organisms that we're looking at. And I think that that's what's going to be most important in the future, is take advantage of these new techniques in chemistry and electronics that will allow us to do better and better work on our organization of the plants, knowing what their relationships are and what benefits they provide for us, chemically, medically, or just aesthetic.